Hi, I'm Kathy Anderson, Extension Horse Specialist here at the University of Nebraska. In today's version of What to Know Wednesday, we're going to talk about how to make sure you're feeding your horse enough hay. So the last one that I did, we talked about how to weigh your horse. And the two ways to estimate the weight on your horse is to use one of the weight tapes that you can get from a lot of our feed companies, or you can use a long tape measure where you would take their heart girth, square that times their body length, and divide that by 330 to give you a good estimate of what your horse's weighs. Because you kind of need that to figure out how much hay you should be feeding those horses. Okay, so here if you look, we've got the weight of a horse, and the bottom line of what we like to feed that horse is in the neighborhood of 1.5% of their body weight, okay? So if we say this horse weighs 1,200 pounds, okay, and we're gonna feed him 1.5% of his body weight in a day of hay, so that 1,200 pound horse, if we multiply this out, he's gonna need about 18 pounds of hay in a day. Or if you feed it per feeding, which most of us will do, that'll be about 9 pounds of hay per feeding. So most of the time what we're going to do is we're not going to weigh our hay every day. We're really going to have our hay, our bales of hay, which really if you take them off, open up those bales, they're going to come off in slices, what we call flakes. And so for our grass hay, it's going to weigh quite a bit less than our alfalfa. And so this might be like 2 flakes, and so it's a good idea to know what they weigh. But you'll probably be feeding those horses a couple flakes of grass hay. If it's alfalfa for that same horse, it's probably going to be about half. So if we look at that pen of 4 horses, okay, and you've got a group of them together. So say we've got horses that weigh 1,100, 1,000, 1,200, 1,100 pounds. So that's really is 4,400 pounds of horse flesh in that one pen. So if we take that times 1.5% of their body weight, that pen of horses is going to need about 66 pounds of hay in a day, okay, to keep them satisfied. So if we're looking at our bales of grass hay, and these grass hays, say they're fairly light, they only weigh about 40 pounds. Well, then if you divide those out, that is going to mean that you're going to need about 1.6 bales of brome hay for that pen of 4 horses per day, okay? Or about 0.82, or about roughly a bale a day bale per feeding to feed that group of horses. If we're feeding alfalfa because it's heavier, so say our alfalfa bales are about 60 pounds, then what we're going to need when you divide this, the 66 and the 60, that's roughly going to be a bale of alfalfa hay per day for that group of 4 horses, or roughly about half a bale per feeding. Now that might not seem like quite enough for that group of 4 horses, so then as a horseman, you just kind of have to look to see how they're getting along and maybe adjust that to some degree. So thank you.